Return to Glory podcast. Hunter Zarb, Nikki Dakota, Free Tag, Austin Rose. It's February 17th. We are all back for the first time in a couple of weeks. We've been a little sick, under the weather.
Down with the sickness.
Been tough. Very rough. Dak, did you listen to Austin and I last week?
Yes, I did.
Wow.
A little bit. I didn't finish it.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. The beginning, about 15 minutes, I did. Great episode, guys.
Thank
I
you.
was on my deathbed. I was not able to do anything that night.
Well, you sound better now.
Feel a lot better. Thank God.
Good. Huskers. Basketball team. Northwestern. 20 points. Down. Come back. Win. Topic number one. Fred Hoiberg. Broken hand. I don't know if he broke his hand, but
Bandaged hand.
Hits a whiteboard. Big game. Huge game. Needed for the postseason here. I'll be honest, I was following along the first half and was just kind of upset with the world with how that game was going. And then I turned it on right when we were down about 16 and saw the rest of it. And it was pretty fun to watch.
I did see it. I was going to be busy, and then I was checking the score because like, I might have some time. I could turn it on Maddie's phone or something. And down 20, I was like, I don't want to freaking watch the rest of that game. Like, it's fine. I'll admit, I gave up.
So did you shut it off too? I shut it off when it was 41-21. I said, well, that's the end of that.
I just looked at the score and didn't pull it up. And then when I saw that we won, I thought, it's like, oh, did the women play Northwestern today too? Like,
well, they were just hitting everything. Northwestern too. It was like, and Nebraska just looked terrible. Couldn't take care of the ball or anything, make any shots. So I was like, well, this is over. Like, no point in watching the rest of this. Well,
that game was a microcosm of the entire season where we felt like, nobody cared. We didn't care. Like, it was stupid. And then we, go on this huge run, AKA winning, 4 in a row like we just did. And we feel like we're, a lock in the tournament. And then we end up winning the game. And here we are, not yet a lock, but we're creeping closer to getting that bid.
2 more wins.
Two of the 5. I think everybody agrees that we'll do it. And 2 of those games being very, very, 3 of them are at home, on the road at Penn State. I think that, you would like our chances heading into March, but I want to stay on that Northwestern game because, like, heading to Northwestern, we have not won there since. Anybody hear the stat? Dak, when was the last time Nebraska won at Northwestern?
19.
No way.
Oh, shut up.
2006.
Probably Tim Miles year.
We got here in 2010. We won in 2014. Was the last time we've won at Northwestern. For whatever reason, we've struggled there. They obviously are a little banged up this year, but and towards the bottom. But we came out and did what we've done on the road. Laid an egg to start, but the impressive comeback, rallying behind whatever they needed to find. And I completely agree with this theory or statement. Fred Hoiberg getting pissed and punching something coming from Fred Hoiberg
probably means a lot.
Like, how can that not get you fired up? Now, like, I heard someone say too, if it came from one of the Hurley brothers, you'd be like, okay, like, whatever.
Probably does that every week.
That's every 5 minutes of the game with them.
And Fred sounded like after the game, he was mad at himself. Like, he sounded like I shouldn't have did that for my health type of comment, which is funny. But again, coming from a guy like that, you really got to go, whoa, like, let's do this. And that's what happened. Also, after the Maryland loss on Thursday, because we also have not done a podcast since then. Juwan Gary, you know, in the post game press conference, talking about you know, the disappointed in the lack of urgency, the, you know, playing hard for 4 quarters, 32 minutes. You know, he's like, I get we have guys that were sick with Bryce and Connor both not feeling great, but he goes, we didn't feel like we had that extra edge or whatever. Like he called players out, and that, I mean, that's Juwan for you. I mean, that he is the mental and emotional leader for this team in both the good and the bad.
I agree. I think, you know, obviously we would all agree Juwan and Bryce are our 2 most important players. Like, it's those 2, and then there's a hard shelf and a big drop before Sam Hoiberg, maybe.
So this is where I wanted to go, because I think, you know, Berkey was injured.
Yep, that's true.
And didn't play. He got injured late in that Maryland. No, he played in the Maryland game.
I don't think so.
He got hurt the game before Maryland.
Yeah.
Then we played Maryland, played that one. You know, hurt his ankle. He is another one to talk about. So I think we can all agree Bryce and Juwan are 1, 2. And I mean, to me, it's no question Bryce is 1. You just look at what he's done in our wins and losses. It's pretty evident that he is the big key, which was predicted before the year. Juwan being, you know, the senior leader, defensive captain, energy man, you know, those 2 guys, they don't leave the court unless they're in foul trouble. Here's where this gets interesting next, because I think we might have some differing opinions, and just based on our philosophies about basketball. Who do you guys think is the next most important? I agree there's a drop-off, but who do you think is next most important to the team?
Mine's not even a starter.
Oh, you're going to go with...
Go ahead.
Well,
Yeah, go with it.
I think it's a Seagen. I mean, there's some games he doesn't play that much though. That's one reason why I was like, is he third best? But his scoring is so big for this team, because outside those 2, no one else can you count on to give you 10, 15 a night like a Seagen can, and you need that scoring.
I will agree. Our offense it's pretty Bryce Gary, or I should say Williams Gary heavy. Like, that is kind of when we're scoring, they're the 2 that are kind of carrying it.
And if those 2 don't have it, you're done.
He is my 4. And for a lot of the reasons you guys are mentioning, we saw last year, the past couple of years, what our offense is like with a guy like Casey on the court. That when you have someone that can just flat out shoot it, it opens up a lot. Seagen is that guy. We didn't know. We knew he could shoot, right? Coming from Wisconsin, that's one thing he was good at. But we didn't know what he would be like. But he's proven himself this season that he's that guy. When he's on the court, you have to chase him. You have to lock onto him. You cannot give him a glimpse of look. He is a damn good 3-point shooter. I have him at 4, though. I have someone else at 3. Austin, I'm going to see who you have at 3.
I think I have Hoiberg at 3. I really do. I think he puts in the effort. I know stats-wise he's not great, but I just feel like we're way better when he's on the court than when he's off, even though he has some defensive issues, but not like from an effort, just from a pure size point.
So here's the dynamic with that. Obviously being Fred's kid, we don't know the true dynamic of the locker room and how that goes. I mean, there's good and bad when you have a coach's kid in the team, and the coach's kid is playing a lot too, part of the rotation, and he should be. Austin's got him ranked 3 for these reasons.
Yeah.
Like importance, not so much who's better, who's best, but importance for the team. And I struggled with Sam, and I went the opposite route with him. And okay. I don't think that being the coach's kid is a huge like chemistry thing, but I can see that angle. Like, you take Sam off, and things like Sam was for sure last year when he was in the court, we looked different on the defensive end too. Even I mean, liability defense. He also does a lot of really good things for us too.
Yes.
Just energy wise, I could see that.
I have a bold one here at 3.
Are you gonna? All right, I want to hear it. I have a guess.
I'm
and
gonna
I
guess
think
he's my
Jack's
4.
gonna be appalled.
This is a little bit of my basketball thinking,
I
my
think I know who he
chemistry
is.
thinking. I have Raleigh Wooster
Yeah.
at 3.
Wow, that is not who I thought it was.
Oh, well, that's who I thought it was gonna be.
Here's the thing. He's not super skilled on the offensive side. And he also is not a good shooter. Here's the thing with Raleigh. He's a damn good defender, size-wise. And guarding the other team's point guard. He is very, very good defensively. He's one of our stronger defenders on the ball, plays hard, all that stuff. 2, he is a veteran guy that's been on a few different teams. He's old, experienced. And I think the guys respect him for that. Like sometimes when you're an older guy coming in, you get, and especially with that type of lack thereof offensive skill set, you might kind of be like, okay, what the hell is this guy playing for? Clearly, there's this leadership and intangible component that he brings to this team. When I did this, I'm like, okay, if he's out, who's playing that point guard spot? Ulyss. And I think there's a very big drop off. Very, very, very big. Now, maybe Bryce plays point guard. We saw that last year some. I think this team needed a point guard like Raleigh, like what he's doing. I think he does a lot. And there's another weird thing, and I always am confused by it because he's not great offensively. There's a reason for it. Late shot clock. Where's the ball at often? It's usually in Bryce's hands when we can get it to him. Second is Raleigh. Like it is. If you watch us play, he has the ball, and I am always like, why? And he does some stupid stuff, but he's strong enough to get to the rim, and he get a crazy 3 after getting swatted here against Northwestern this week. I think he's third most important. I don't think he's the third best player, but I think if you take him off the team, you go, oh boy, like who's playing point guard, who's getting us into our stuff. That's why I have him 3, and that's also my way of thinking for basketball. So,
interestingly enough, if you go based off of minutes played this year, Bryce is 1, Jawan's 2, and then Raleigh is 3, and then Sam and Connor Essegian basically have the same for 4 and 5. So it does kind of, our rankings aren't too far off of what Fred has them at.
So I have Sam at 6. I have Berkay at 5.
Berkay is the next one. Yeah.
I had him at 4.
Here's the thing with Berkay. We saw him go out against Maryland. Was it a drop off from Berkay to Morgan and or Mia? Yes.
Mia played all right yesterday, though.
Mia, they do some decent things. Like, I don't think there's as big of a drop off there when you take out some of these other guys. And Berkay is a lot better offensively than, especially Mia. But you know what though? Mia does what he does. He does his role well. Morgan, Morgan's good enough and skilled enough offensively that we do some stuff for him to let him go 1-on-1 in the post. Like, those guys. So I had Sam 6, Morgan 7, Mia 8, and then I was a Ulyss 9. But that was my rankings as far as importance goes.
I think I had Sam 3, Berkay, and then Raleigh, then Morgan, then Mia, then Ulyss.
Yeah, I went Berkay, Morgan, Wooster, Hoiberg, Mia, Ulyss. And then I had Griff as 10th, which I almost just put him out like as far as you can put him off there.
you had to put him on your list.
You had to throw him on there just to make sure that he was last. No, I think with Raleigh though, how how much he's improved offensively as the years gone on. Like you can see him try to score. He's actually driving the hole and scoring now.
He has gotten better as the years gone on.
Yeah. Like beginning of the year, he couldn't do anything offensively.
He still can't hardly do anything offensively, but he was frustrated.
But you're getting something from him.
Yeah.
He's not lightning in a bottle quick, that's for sure.
Yeah. I just think he's important. I think he's a glue guy. I think Gary's the definition of a glue guy, but I think from a point guard standpoint, it's Raleigh. And the stuff that he does is like I don't mind him. I know some people really don't like him, and you're like, what is going on? Like, why is this guy playing? Why is the ball in his hands? But I think it's more of that experience, the veteran status that he holds in college basketball. I mean, he looks like he could belong in a men's league YMCA team and just would kick everybody's butt, and he would. But that's what he looks like. That's what he's built like. That's what his face looks like it.
Gosh, I'm just looking through his game-by-game stats. Don't look at the offensive numbers because it is not pretty.
Hell, though, he got benched for a little bit was it one game or two games where Elis started? I think it's only one because you found out pretty quick that was a mistake.
Yeah, but it was when we were on our little scoring drought or winning drought there.
Yep.
Yeah, you started Ulis, and boy, that you found out quick that guy is not. you tried to play him as little as possible.
Gosh, you know what this team needs? It needs rank masked. That's all it needs.
Yep, I was thinking about that last night. If they had rank masked,
it would help a lot.
It would.
Well, where we're sitting right now, as of this morning on Bracket Matrix, which has every bracket on the internet that updates it frequently and what they consider reliable. There's 97 of them. 96 of the 97 have us in, averaging out to a 9.54 seed, and 9 being the highest, 11 being the lowest. I think Lunardi from ESPN's got us as a 10 seed, and Palmer from CBS as a 9 seed. I think that's where we belong. I think we did probably these two games what most people thought we would do these two games. I think, winning both of them probably would have been a little bit better than expected, and going 1-1 was probably about expected in the Northwestern Maryland game.
Yeah, not expecting the Northwestern game to go, but the result was the same. What you thought?
Oh, kind of. We were only a 1.5 point favorite, so it's not like it's not, and it's a quad one win, and
yeah.
I think some people, I know some people that are just, how is that a quad one win? Well, it goes off those new NET rankings, the net rankings, and if you're on the road on a team that's 75 or better, to quad one win, and that, I think that's our 6th quad one win this year, which looks really good in the resume. You want to look at some of the games we've lost and the scores that, you'd maybe think a different story. But I do think, committee and bracketologists, they look at quality wins versus bad losses first. I think that's one of the things that is looked at quite a bit. And so having those wins is huge when it comes to Selection Sunday.
Yeah. And you look at the loss to Maryland, top 25, and we're missing Berke,
and Bryce and Connor were both sick.
And Bryce and Connor were both sick. Yep.
Oh.
I was gonna throw one more thing about Morgan in there. That guy, he just seems to get the timely buckets you guys need. Like and he has to have the most and ones on the team by a mile. Every time he gets hacked. Every time he goes up to shoot. Not saying he makes it every time, but he just gets drilled every time he goes up to shoot.
He honestly kind of feels like rank mass light.
Yeah.
With how he gets his points.
Yep. Without the shooting, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's not. You aren't gonna. Although he can hit a 3 every now and then, but the switch from Mia to Morgan has been, I think, your almost biggest improvement of the season.
So it's been funny the last couple of games. Mia's got quite a bit of minutes, especially late.
Yeah.
And he's still a good defender, shot blocker, all of that. And he's actually got some hands on some rebounds and some easy dump down finishes on offense. And so I do think he is playing better than what his role has been all year so far through these last couple of games.
He also, I don't know if you guys know, but his free throw shooting the last like 4 games, he actually can make them now.
I will say that's one thing that Fred Hoiberg, like from his first couple of years as a coach to now, like we're actually a good free throw shooting team. We're not, best in the league, but those first couple of years, I mean, we were lucky to shoot over 50% as a team. Now it's at least like 70 something. Like it's pretty competitive.
So I don't know how all these colleges work, but I mean, free throw shooting is one of those weird things to coach. As a high school basketball coach too, it's different. It's obviously a skill. It's a free shot, and it's very mental because everyone's watching you. Everybody's still basically while you're shooting it, and there's a big mental side of it too, as well. But I think the one way just to get over that is one, finding a way to mentally clear your mind out, and then 2, repetition on free throws. And I don't know what our staff has done and changed to help that. But I do know, like, for example, Michigan State, when we were able to see some of the stuff at their practices, they have trackers on every hoop in their practice facility that tracks every shot by every player, who it was shot by, where it was shot from. And that's one way of just tracking free throws. And they talked about how they, shoot X amount of free throws a day before and after practice, and they can track all of that very easily. So I'm guessing technology is allowing for, some obviously Division I programs, Nebraska, to be very advanced in helping with a lot of that stuff. And it's paid off. Like I didn't have any questions when Bryce was going to the line late against Northwestern. I mean, it was like, great job. Like they fouled him, and he's like a 91% free throw shooter.
Yeah. He's definitely your by far and away closer, Bryce is, and I think Jawan gets you through his rough stretches too. Like they pair each other nicely with they're a good 1-2 duo. It's just can you get enough from the other guys? And you don't need a lot. Just someone to step up.
All right. Any more Husker basketball news talk?
Ladies are doing well. Also looking to have like the same record as the men, and probably going to be seeded at 10-9-8 seed. So
very deja vu from last year. It seems like.
Yeah, got a nice win over ranked Maryland, and followed it up with a little bit of a stinker against not Iowa. Who'd they lose to?
Who was it just on Sunday?
Yeah, I don't remember. Someone they shouldn't have lost to. Gotta look it up now.
Austin's gonna find it.
Yep.
I was following along to it, but I can't remember who it was either.
Illinois.
Yep, that's right. There's a lot of good pieces there. Hopefully 2 tournament bursts, and it was fun while we were in Memphis. They both, Nebraska men and women, played in the same day, and you watch the men and women on TV that night. It'd be fun if it played out that way again.
As long as we win this time. I don't think either of us won last time, correct? I don't remember if the women advanced last year.
We did beat A&M round 1.
That's right.
We both played Texas A&M to start
the year,
or to end the year. Moving on here, Husker baseball season just kicked off. We were ranked 24th in the preseason poll this weekend. Friday lost to UC Irvine after a slow start. Came back, beat Vanderbilt on Saturday. From every word that I heard, and sounded like it was a very high intensity, high energy game. In that game, Tucker Timmerman, a Beatrice native, got drilled in the face by a one hopper back at the mound. If you guys haven't seen a picture of him or seen it, like just search it on
That's
Google. It looks
It's gnarly.
It's but he's smiling like. So we got the win. Big gut win there. Then beat San Diego State, killed them on Sunday. Moved us up one spot in the rankings that were released Monday morning, and then threw a stinker today against Grand Canyon, lost 3-1.
Yep.
So
Like I said, I don't know a ton about what to expect. It kind of feels like people have high expectations for this team. Like it might be a little bit of a magical year, but I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if our offense is going to be consistent. We have some talent from last year that was good, and they expect the new guys to do pretty well this year, and our pitching should be better. So
yeah, it
we'll
sounds
see.
like pitching is maybe the question mark. We'll obviously get more into baseball, softball season here once basketball season gets over. But yeah, I wanted to call out the first weekend success.
2-2.
Good 2.
500 start.
So, speaking of baseball too, also wanted to take time to call out and give tribute to Greg Sharpe, who longtime Husker football and baseball as his probably primary sport, but did a lot of football games too, did a little bit of basketball here and there, who just passed on Saturday. I think, all the comments and commentary, other podcasts I've listened to, you just hear how good of a guy he was and cared about the people that he was working for and talking about over himself. Very selfless person. He was fun to listen to. I mean, there's several times that, it was weird this year. The one time when he wasn't on the radio and I was listening to it while I was driving, I'm like, this isn't the same. That's who I grew up on, listening to all of the football games. I
mean, this will be the first big change for really any of us as far as Husker voice work.
Correct.
So it will be weird. He did a really good job, Hopefully his family's doing okay. It is at least one of those things where it wasn't like a shocking, like it's been a long battle. So
it had, I think it started a little over a year ago, pancreatic cancer, and there were a lot of tributes, that I think the Big Ten tournament was a pretty neat thing. Baseball last year, pretty neat storyline, and how they gave tribute to him there. One of the big things was he wanted to make it to his daughter's wedding, which unfortunately is this upcoming weekend.
Yep.
So he fell a week short of that, but we'll be there in good spirits. Dak, I mean, you obviously just becoming a Husker fan. You probably didn't listen to many games on the radio, but just growing up, he like Austin said, it's going to be different to change. Like whether you knew the guy, what he looked like when I was young, I didn't. I just knew it. You knew his voice, like you knew what he sounded like on everything. Not just in-game broadcasting, but all the talk shows and things that he hosted throughout the week.
That's what I was going to say. Every time you turn on a Husker game on the radio, he'd be the one voice that everyone would know that was going to be there. Like everybody could recognize him.
Yep. And like on the way home from Husker games as a kid, like just listen to the post-game stuff. I mean, he was always the one leading that charge, doing all the interviews and stuff like that. And impressively too, like think about how he ended, how he continued to do all of that work. I think he did as much as he could. I think he did all but 3 games this fall.
Yeah.
And for the state that he was in, like that sets such a great example to how you should live life, like for other people and not for yourself.
It is one of those cool things, like, you think about his family, like they will always have his voice. Like everyone knows their, husband, dad's, uncle, brother's voice. Like everyone in Nebraska knows what Greg Sharpe sounds like, and they will remember it, and it'll be around for like all those highlights. Yeah, so that's cool.
Last thing here today, the Big Ten and SEC, I think, had their second meeting, it sounds like, on college football and expansion and playoff talk and whatever that looks like. And we don't know what that's going to lead to. We don't know what's going to happen. It sounds like the college football playoff is still going to continue to be in its current state for at least one more year. But after that, I mean, who knows? And this leads to the conversation of power, leads to the conversation of money and where that sits and who's making the decisions. And I think there's a billion ways this thing could play out. One common theory or potential structure is that because the Big Ten and SEC owns all of the media and TV rights, and that's where a lot of the money is. And if you want to talk about who actually is in charge of a lot of this stuff, it's probably those two commissioners and these people that are meeting at this, whatever you want to call it, between the SEC and Big Ten. And they have power to make threats and say, if you don't meet these demands, we will do our own thing and form our own league, form our own postseason. Basically, completely changing the way we think of college sports as it has existed for the past couple hundred years. Here's my question with all of that. What do you think of would if you could change it tomorrow? Would you move to two 16-team leagues, or else even go 20-team leagues, the SEC and the Big 12 or the Big 10? Obviously, Nebraska being a part of that. And it's basically like the NFL or the NBA or whatever professional league you want to call it, where, you got your divisions, you have your non-conference, your conference games, your two sides, your probably playoff bracket, which looks like something like the NBA or NFL does with the AFC, NFC, West, and East. If you could have a button that says, yep, we're doing this next year, would you do that or not? And then second part of that, do you think that's coming?
I don't know. Something's coming.
So first, would you change? Would you do that? Like, what do you like that? Do you like the idea? Do you think, like, what do you think?
I'm struggling with I like regional games. I don't, like, we've talked about this on the pod. I don't care when we play USC. I don't care when we play UCLA. Like, it's fine once in a while, but I want to play Colorado. I want to play Iowa. I want to play Wisconsin. I want to play Minnesota. Like, those are the teams I want to play. And if you do that, I think it becomes less likely you play those games. Especially, like, I mean, Oklahoma and Texas, I guess, are in the SEC now, but
Dak?
I don't know.
If, like you said, if it changes to where people play like where their region, teams in their like area of the country, yes. Like your divisions, I guess. If it lines people up more close together than where you're at in the country. That's what I think is like. Yeah, Nebraska plays Colorado, Kansas. Well, I guess you don't. Are you saying all the Big 12 schools come in too? Then
here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying anything's going to happen. I'm just saying that the Big Ten and SEC hold a lot of power.
Oh yeah, all of it.
So you can have your desire and what you want, what you like. What I'm asking though is, would you take the current Big Ten and SEC and maybe add to, I'm not going to say 15 teams to each, but maybe 5 to 10 teams, five teams each, and just split off? Would you do that? And I don't know where you cut it off. I don't know if Colorado makes that cut. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know if Kansas, I don't know if K-State, I don't know who makes that cut. But would you vote for that? And I will say there's probably more regional opportunities there. It's not going to be, we're not going to play all those teams that you probably mentioned. I don't know where the line gets drawn, but would you be for that? I guess immediately or in the future? Like what? Like, I have my thoughts. Like I want to hear what you guys say before I go into it, though.
Yeah, I guess I'm fine with it. Like, that's where it's going. That is where it's going. It's going to be the big powers doing their own thing, having their own championship, having their own TV deals. And I mean, that's kind of what it already is. Like, obviously teams have the ability to play in, but it's always going to be the big brands that are competing for national titles. When was the last time there was a national title you're like, wow, that one really snuck up out of nowhere? Florida State, maybe, but even then, that's a big name. Like,
so it is. It's fascinating. A team like Florida State, Clemson, what happens? Where do they go? Right now they're not a part of the SEC or Big Ten. If things continue to go this way, and my strong opinion is that it is going to move faster than we think.
Yep.
I think within the next 3 to 5 years, we are going to see this thing happen because I don't think the NCAA's got much left. I think the Big Ten and SEC right now are financial powerhouses and have all of the power, and they will drive the conversation. And do you really think those people care about college football tradition and the past? They maybe do a little bit, but they are in it for the revenue, and that's what's driving them. So Nebraska, we're luckily in one of those things. Here's the scary thing when it comes to like actual success with it all. You start that thing next year, like we're the Washington Wizards, kind of, like, maybe not quite that bad, but if you get what I'm saying, like we're not in a good position for starting off a new league type of thing. I would guess there'd be opportunities within the league. Then, not saying there's going to be trades in that extent right away, but I'm not going to put it against that could happen. Where it's gonna be so professionalized down the road. It's coming. And would I do it? You know what? I would say no now because I don't think Nebraska is in a position to compete right now at that stage. For 12 games or however many games you want to play throughout the year, we need our cupcakes to get some wins like we do. Let's just be real. Versus playing Texas every other year and
Georgia, Alabama,
and whoever else gets on that schedule. I don't think we want to do that right now, but I think it's going to come sooner than we want. And that's why it's so key now that we figure our shit out and turn this program around.
Someone's got to be the bottom of that league, though.
Somebody does.
That's how it's going to shake out. Just like every year in the NFL, you have your Jaguars floating down there. You got your Wizards who just can't get out.
You're talking about
real. Nebraska's got the brand to do it. We have the financial resources right now to do it.
We're the freaking Cowboys. We were good in the 90s.
But we are. You're right. That's what we are. So that's what's hard is like, but again, the Cowboys are, I guess this year's a different story, but they've been in the playoffs kind of like every,
But they lose in the first round. Have they made the NFC Championship game?
We're not, but that's still top half of the NFL or right around the half. We're not there. I don't think, not yet. We could be maybe
FBS programs probably.
Yeah. So that it makes for interesting conversation. I just think it's coming quicker than we think. I think these meetings are very telling that the conversations are happening, and when people don't want to assume that, oh my gosh, that they're quote unquote ruining college football. That it's just going to keep changing. Like it is
out the window.
It's going to go where the money. It's going to go where the money is. I just don't know where you draw the line. I think that's probably one of those things that people are going to be really pissed about. But it's like, okay, but you're not a part of the Big Ten and SEC. So like someone like Arizona State who had a great year, you're probably going to get left out. And then these other schools they're going to have their own stuff. They're going to have their own league, their own division, their own eventual something. But it's going to start by the SEC and Big Ten taking, as they kind of already are, taking control and command over college football. Like that's where it's going to start, and then it'll trickle down to other sports and go from there. And this is all in conjunction with the NCAA being in all sorts of, or not being in all sorts of involvement with a lot of this stuff, wherever they sit on it. So that I thought that was interesting. Like they met again, like that, but that led to me thinking, all right, here we go. We're moving somewhere. I don't know where it is, but it's going.
There is no more NCAA. It is the Big Ten, SEC running it all. Like all these other schools, like you said, Clemson, Florida State, and all them, they're got to follow along. Like there's all these big tall schools, so they're screwed. They're either have to follow along or
follow
make their
along
own.
or make an act. They got to make some move before it's too late. Like that's the scary part. You would like to think that whatever this new structure or new thing that these guys are talking about, they're not forgetting about some of these more, Miami's, Florida State's, Clemson's of the world. But again, where do you draw the
But do
line?
they care?
Where do they care? And where do you draw the line? What do you do with Colorado? Yeah, I'm thinking more locally, Colorado, K-State, those Big 12 schools. Like, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Where are you cutting it off at? And if they don't care, then some teams like that are just going to be left out to start their next own thing, and it'll be the next subdivision of whatever you want to create of a financial division.
Which let's be real, the NCAA has been dead for how long? Like it hasn't been around. It's the name's there, but they haven't governed college sports in years.
I mean, they're still in charge of the, March Madness.
Yeah, but like rules wise, like they say they say they have these rules, but it's just a free land right now. Like
they're quote unquote in charge by the paper, but
yeah,
what you're saying is officially like what they have actually controlled, but not much.
It's been the Big Ten SEC for quite a while,
and now they're joining forces.
Mm-hmm.
What would make for a lot of fun football games though.
There would be a lot, but I think
traveling.
you have to do it in a way though that it's so strategic, because I think they saw what happened with the college football playoff this year when they played the games and were trying to compete with some of these NFL games. I mean, people like us who enjoy both sports. Some people are diehard NFL or diehard college football. I get that, but people that like I heard someone say this: who would you rather watch, Penn State, SMU, or Mahomes versus CJ Stroud? Like, I'm probably turning on Mahomes and CJ Stroud.
I remember us talking on this being like, oh yeah, I totally forgot that college football championship was this week because I was watching round 2 of the NFL.
Yep. So you have to strategically find a way to, and promote it and keep it fresh and people loving it. I think, people are going to love their teams always. I don't think that's going to change. But as far as competing, people that are watching the other games outside of their team, how are you going to compete with? And you know what? I guess as I'm saying this out loud, what's going to come with this new SEC Big Ten merger eventually? You'll get fantasy football, just like the NFL has it. That's what keeps me locked into NFL a lot, is fantasy football. Like, you're going to get that. It's going to be as built out and everything that the current NFL is. So that'll come with it, I'm sure. Eventually, it's going to take a little time to get there, but I don't know. It's exciting. It's fun to talk about, fun to think about, fun to try to predict the future.
Kind of fun. It's also kind of a bummer.
Yeah. All right. That's it. 5 games left for the Skurs basketball. Win 2 of them.
March coming quick.
It is.
How's OU, Dak? Give us our OU. Where are they sitting?
Not good. They have kind of fallen off the map a little bit here. I mean, they played 5 straight ranked opponents, and then they just fall map after that. So Porter Moser is out. Book that.
Really?
Yep. They're still probably making the tournament, but I still think he gets fired.
Oh, I guess they are currently at a 10 seed as well on bracket matrix in 95 and the 97 brackets.
No, they're still gonna make the tournament, but I think he gets fired. Like it's the same.
You think Oklahoma has that high of expectations of a powerhouse in basketball that this is unacceptable?
They had Trae Young that one time.
I think that team only got a 9 seed, but it's been the same thing every year with them. They die out in conference play every year, every time. So
at Nebraska, you'd be a king.
You can have him.
You think he's stale? You think he's staled up?
I think he's done.
Hasn't he been there for like 2 or 3 years?
I think it's his 4th year, 4th or 5th year. He's been there for quite a while.
That might be right.
2020, he might got hired there. I don't know. I'm tired.
You should know this is your team.
I'm tired of him. It's the same thing every conference play. You fizzle out, start the year hot. Last year they were 12-0. Same exact story. Except for last year they didn't make the tournament.
Fun fact, where did Porter Moser go to college at?
Texas.
Nebraska.
Creighton.
Creighton.
Oh.
Oh.
No idea. Here you go, Dak. Oklahoma's records: 19, 16, 15, 17, 20, and 12, 15, and 5 this year.
No, they're
15 and 5.
this year?
I don't know. That's what
They're-
Wikipedia said. Definitely.
They're
Almost
16-9. I was gonna say.
Okay, so that's not updated. They
I could say there's no way
Lost
they've only
in a
played
row.
20 games. No, they're 16-9. And they play number 2 tomorrow, I think, at Florida.
At
So
Florida.
that'll be fun. But yeah, when you play Bama, Auburn, Florida, the SEC is a gauntlet too in basketball.
We should have done that game. See how many top 10 basketball teams Stat could list off. Currently ranked basketball teams.
Auburn, Alabama, Houston. Boy, that's
What's
I
Oklahoma
haven't
playing?
gotten into. I really have not gotten into college basketball much this year, and I want to, but
you just said one.
What team's Oklahoma playing?
Florida.
You did pretty good though. I mean, there's
Duke.
some. Yep. He said you got the top 6. I mean, Texas A&M 7, Iowa State 8, St. John's 9, and Texas Tech 10.
I had no clue St. John's was that good.
Oh yeah,
Rick Pitino.
Rick
Pitino doing his job. 22
Listen.
and 4.
He's a good coach. Sure, he got caught with not prostitutes, hooker.
not a very good person. Hell of a coach, though.
Oh.
Looked like a vampire, too.
All right, we'll be back. Go Big Red at Penn State Wednesday. Get her done.
GBR.
Go Big Red.